Welcome back to your next experience with eventhi. This segment is a monthly web series where we dive into the latest industry news and updates around cannabis events, tourism, and lounges. So who is this show for? This show is for event organizers, those in the hospitality tourism sector, venue owners, or brands looking to stay informed around cannabis events, tourism, and travel. What you can expect from each of our shows. We will have a special guest each month joining us. We will go into industry news and give updates and announcements. So to get this started, we have an amazing guest joining us, and this is going to be a great conversation that I can't wait to share. So let's dive into introducing our guest. Our guest this month is Norman. Norman is a seasoned executive whose varied and extensive business background includes decades of senior experience in banking and small entrepreneurial ventures. He worked in corporate finance and real estate at Chase Manhattan Bank, Citicorp, and First Chicago in New York, Kingston, Jamaica, and Chicago, and concluded this phase of his career as a managing director of a unit that syndicated large financings to U.S., European, and Asian financial institutions. He eventually left banking to pursue entrepreneurial interests, which have included ventures in personal care, K-12 software, and digital marketing. Norman is the CEO of GanjaVacations, a cannabis travel services company, which he actually founded in late 2019. GanjaVacations focuses on exotic destinations and already features hundreds of resorts, vacation packages, tours, and other cannabis-centric experiences in Jamaica. This is the first of its exotic destinations, with plans in the works for an expansion to include listings in other Caribbean basin countries and beyond. Norman also holds a BA and MBA degrees from Columbia University. So with that being said, welcome, Norman. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, Adelia, many thanks for having me and for the opportunity to talk about what we're doing at GanjaVacations. It's a pleasure to be here, and I never miss an opportunity to talk about what we're doing.
Well, this is going to be a great conversation. As I shared with Norman earlier, I was diving into the website, and it just was so exciting to see all that you and your team are working on, and how you're connecting tourists to really have unique experiences. But let's go first things first. With that amazing background and career focus on what you were doing from the financial side of things to an entrepreneurial side of things, and then moving into being a cannabis entrepreneur. How did you get involved in the cannabis industry, and what inspired you to start GanjaVacations?
Well, it was entirely by accident. Before GanjaVacations, I was running a small digital marketing agency, and landed a client that owned a small resort in Jamaica. And through this relationship, I came to understand the difficulties that many of these small resorts have, with neither the scale nor the resources to properly promote themselves or differentiate sometimes their very unique experiences from the big, well-known, branded resorts. Many of these small properties operate at low occupancy rates and don't do that great. My client's property was in that category. However, with the liberalization of the cannabis laws in Jamaica, he saw an opportunity. He saw an opening to pivot to a cannabis-friendly resort.
Nice.
And this opened my eyes. As somebody who was born and raised in Jamaica and who knows the island well, I knew that there are many, many small resorts like his on the island. By some estimation, as many as 3,000 of them. Many of them, perhaps even the majority of them, evangelically and openly ganja friendly. Right? So the idea of a platform that would identify and promote these kinds of properties to a worldwide audience of cannabis tourists, made absolute sense and came to me very quickly. As you probably know, there's no place on earth more identified with weed than Jamaica. But despite that reputation, there is no easy way for a foreign tourist looking for cannabis-friendly accommodations to find it. So we are now that go-to place. We're now that bridge connecting cannabis-friendly properties on the island to a worldwide community of tourists looking for this kind of experience.
That's so exciting. Now, can you dive a little bit further into that, into the vision? So what kind of experiences outside of you connecting them to these resorts and everything? And there was a lot more that I saw on your website of what you offer.
We're not just offering vacation packages. We're offering tours, and or we tours are by far the most popular things on the website. If you search tours in Jamaica, we are, we're at the very top of Google. And so because of that, you have people who are already in a hotel in Jamaica or arriving on a cruise ship and are looking for a weed tour, and they're finding us. So our weed tours are doing well. And of course, we're also offering wellness retreats. And, in the fullness of time, we'll be offering lots of other things as well. Events, cannabis weddings, as well as packages aimed at, demographic like seniors and women. So we have lots of things in the works.
Yeah, that's going to be so exciting. I mentioned earlier in your bio that you're planning on expanding to other exotic destinations. Do you have an idea of when the first one's happening, or are you ready in discussions?
We're thinking about them. Jamaica is not the be all and end all of our ambitions. It just happens to be the place we started. And it's a starting point that made sense for a lot of reasons, a couple of which I've already mentioned. Island's reputation for weed, and the fact that I was born there, I was raised there. I know the island well. I know the culture. I know how business is done, and I have lots of other connections there. However, by my calculation, there are already close to 20 or so Caribbean nations that have either recently or are in the process of liberalizing their cannabis laws, which I believe will in time lead to the evolution of a significant Caribbean-wide cannabis tourism industry. We intend and expect to be a leading player in that business. From there, we will expand to other exotic places, eventually perhaps even to the US and elsewhere. But for the short term, for the immediate future, our focus will be on Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Yeah. Well, and that's, as you're saying, there's a lot of need for that. There's a lot of interest in that. And I didn't even think about it, how you were even saying oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank now on the boats, the ones that are coming in.
The cruises.
The cruises. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. The cruises, that's a whole nother sector of people coming into Jamaica.
Right. Yeah. And these are people. We do a lot of these tours. The cruise ship arrives at 9 a.m, and they have to be back on the ship by say about 3 or 4. And in between those 2 hours, they want to do something exciting, and so they go do a weed tour.
That's so cool. With the growing popularity of cannabis tourism, and you kind of maybe already have answered this a little bit, but how do you ensure that GanjaVacations provides a unique and authentic experience for its customers?
Well, I think we are, it's a good question, because I think in time, this is a space that's going to get a little crowded.
Okay.
However, I believe that we're already differentiated in several ways. Number one, of course, our focus on exotic destinations differentiates us.
Yeah.
We also feature small boutique properties. We'll probably never have a listing on our site of more than say about 40 or 50 rooms. The overwhelming majority of our listings will probably be in the 5 to 15 range. But as a sidebar, the size of these properties should be a deterrent to of any sort to anybody. And many of these properties offer comfortable, chic accommodations, exciting culinary adventures, are at picturesque locations, and deliver a very authentic cultural experience. One of the most differentiating things about us, however, is that if you notice on our website, you cannot just book rooms, okay? You book a package, or what we call a package, and it's an experience, which of course comes with a certain number of room nights, but which includes things such as airport transfers and meals and tours. And these packages all vary based on what's included and price and the property and so on. And as I said earlier, our focus will not just be on these vacation packages, but in time, we will be also offering events. The wedding business we see as a very, very interesting proposition down the road. You may not know this, but Jamaica is the #1 place for destination weddings outside the United States.
Wow.
And so, and all of the properties, even the very small properties, do these and do them well. So the idea of our weddings and ganja in Jamaica, is a marriage made in heaven.
Definitely. I love that. Yes. Well, and what we've been noticing here at Event High too is, especially after, the past couple of years of what we all went through, people are wanting more intimate experiences and gatherings. So I think focusing on these more boutique locations is very beneficial, and also will allow you to have that really good experience for the people that you're providing these to, because again, these resorts can be more focused on the customers that you're bringing in and the experiences that they're going to be providing. So that's exciting. Yeah. What kind of challenges, have you faced in either, launching GanjaVacations, or maybe when working with these resorts? Have there been any challenges and how did you overcome them?
Well, as a under-resourced, understaffed startup, we had all of the problems that come with that territory. However, by far, our most daunting challenge was COVID-19. We launched this business in late 2019 with the time of operating under the radar for some months while we populated our website with deals and with resorts, and with a plan of making some sort of splash, in mid to late 2020.
Yeah.
But as you know, between those two dates, COVID happened, and essentially took us out at the knees before we were even up and running. Nobody was traveling. Airports were closed. People in Jamaica were so stressed and distressed. We could hardly even get anybody to talk to us. And so, 2020 was a nothing burger. So was most of 2021.
Yeah.
And the very fact that, we're still here, we're operating and growing, is a testament to patience, perseverance, and the ability to do the max with minimal resources. And we take great pride in that.
No, I love that. It definitely shows the grit that you have as entrepreneurs. That's a lot of what you're saying. I resonate to completely. For us, it was 2019. That was that everything was going up, and the same thing for our company. So definitely resonated. And you're here, like you said. That's the one thing I tell our team all the time. We are still here. Like, we have to recognize that. That is amazing. So glad to see GanjaVacations still here and growing. This is the opportunity, the time now. The time is to scale it. Now, what are some of the exciting developments in the cannabis industry that you're seeing, whether it's more in Chicago where you're based or in Jamaica in these exotic destinations?
Well, I think the most, given our experience of the COVID years, the most exciting development by far is that people are again traveling, and they're traveling to foreign vacation destinations without fear.
Yeah.
And secondly, cannabis tourism is emerging as a real thing.
Yeah.
Last fall, I think it was, Forbes magazine had a feature article which opined that cannabis tourism in the United States is already a $17 billion industry. And I was gobsmacked by that number. I mean, I knew that it was already a significant industry, especially in certain states, and especially Western states where recreational weed has been legal for a while. But the $17 billion was completely beyond my frame of reference.
Yeah.
I should also say that one of the organizing principles behind GanjaVacations was the idea that as adult use legalization percolates across America and cannabis becomes more and more ubiquitous, that weed lovers would begin to seek out cannabis-friendly accommodations and destinations. But that was an idea, that was a thought, that was a hope, a projection.
Yeah.
The great thing is that recent surveys show that this is already happening. And this is exciting news because this demand is the engine that's going to propel cannabis tourism forward.
Yes, definitely. Well, and that was kind of similar to my next question. I think you really hit it on the head exactly of what's happening and now how we're actually getting that data and information needed to verify this, with the legalization of cannabis, moving to recreational in more and more states, or legalization in countries. How do you think this will impact the travel industry as a whole? And I think it kind of correlates with what you just said,
Right, yeah.
Can you go further into that?
Yeah. Well, many experts are predicting that tourism will be the next big thing in cannabis. In fact, Forbes magazine has said this. The New York Times has said this. And I agree wholeheartedly with that opinion. And I see cannabis tourism emerging as a large, fast-growing, and important sector of the tourism industry, attracting not only tons of new travelers, but also lots of vendors offering a broad variety of travel services, catering to the special needs of the cannabis tourist.
Yeah.
This, I think, will of course evolve incrementally over the next few years, but will explode when federal legalization eventually happens. Now, I can't tell you whether that is going to be in 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years, but I think it will eventually happen. And when that happens and the business gets sort of federally legitimized, then I think you're going to see the entry of large, branded, well-capitalized companies come into the space in a way that will revolutionize cannabis tourism. Now, this is an industry that I think will be profitable and attractive for a whole bunch of reasons. But one of them is that the cannabis tourist is a very attractive customer. This is an educated, sophisticated professional with above average disposable income who takes regular vacations. This is a person that lots of people want to do business with.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Now you bring up some good points, and two, even it allows the opportunity when these bigger organizations come in is to work with us or potentially even a variety of different things from the business landscape of what could happen with that timing. But even to how you were saying, like the opportunities for other kind of tours or just other type of business opportunities. As you're saying that, I was thinking, you mentioned weed tours. There's weed tastings, even hemp tours. Some people want to go more the educational route and see, the impact of how hemp can help industrially. So the opportunities are endless and very impactful for countries, cities, and beyond. Now I have one more question before we let you go today. What are some of the most popular destinations and experiences offered by GanjaVacations? And why do you think they are so popular?
Well, we're just in one location right now, Jamaica, and as I mentioned, our most popular experience on the site are our weed tours, and we offer a variety of weed tours. For example, you can spend a couple. We have operators, tour guides, who will pick you up at your hotel or pick you up at your cruise ship port. And they will take you up into the mountains where you will spend an hour or two with a Rastaman touring his plantation. And, he'll tell you about his strains, his methods, and have you sample his product. And on the way back to the hotel, they'll stop at a local place and have a lunch of curried goat or, jerk chicken. And we get rave reviews for those tours.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so cool. Well, for those that are interested in learning more about GanjaVacations, or even booking, their next trip, how can they get in touch or learn more?
Well, they can visit our website, GanjaVacations.net. They can email us at info@GanjaVacations.net, or they can email me directly at norman@GanjaVacations.net.
Awesome. Well, Norman, thank you again for sharing more about the landscape in Jamaica, what's going on at GanjaVacations. For those that are tuning in, if you got a trip that you're looking to plan, it sounds like Jamaica is going to be that. It should definitely be on your radar for a variety of reasons. Again, thank you, Norman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Well, and that brings us to the end of this episode of Your Next Experience with eventhi. We are kicking this off to a monthly series, may move it to bi-weekly, depending on the latest cannabis events and tourism trends. Do you have a suggestion, have a tourism location you would like us to cover? Definitely send us an email. You can contact us at support@eventhi.io. We would love to hear from you. And thank you all for joining us. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay high. Bye.